Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of This Week in Karting. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, and what is a very interesting time in our sport, in our world, battling with the COVID-19 coronavirus. We're doing what we can, of course, here at ekartingnews.com to provide a lot of content for you. We've been pushing out some great interviews on Instagram Live. Just did a podcast with Greg Bell, another Book It podcast. We got a lot of content coming. But again, there's a lot to talk about, and a lot of this, or at least the early part of this particular podcast of This Week in Karting, will be focused on the coronavirus. We'll update you on some of the programs that have halted their races, what they're looking at for rescheduling. But again, that's kind of what we'll be focusing on here today. It is episode number 21. It's April the 14th, midway through the fourth month of the year here in 2020. And as everyone knows, this podcast is essentially focused on all the major news that hits the EKN homepage over the weeks that come into the event. Obviously perfect for listening on the way to work, but coming home, the morning or afternoon commute. But as we know, not a lot of people on the road heading to work these days. So maybe you're working on the cart in the shop. Maybe you guys are working, hanging out on iRacing, whatever it may be. Good opportunity to fire up this podcast and kind of get an update on what's going on. Today's podcast presented by Briggs Racing. Briggs & Stratton is powering Operation Grassroots around the world. No other engine manufacturer is getting new and returning drivers to the kart track like the Briggs 206. The out-of-the-box performance of the Briggs 206 provides the most fun, excitement, and reliability of any karting engine on the global market. Learn more about the 206 engine and the history behind Briggs & Stratton's century-long commitment to motorsports at www.briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing, what powers you? All right, David Cole, episode 20 was our last one just a little over a month ago. You actually did a pretty good job getting a little, bringing This Week in Kartings a little closer together. But it's been a little interesting. You and I have been on it like crazy for the last couple of weeks. You were at the SuperKarts USA Winter Nationals, the start of the Pro Tour. I was at the IndyCar race and Road Indy event in St. Petersburg. We got one session in for each category. You guys, I don't even think really got rolling at all. Maybe a little bit of practice. That's it. And things are changed, man. It's a different world right now. We're all on hold, and I think everybody's just hoping to go back to the racetrack.
Yeah, this is essentially week 5 of what has been the stay-at-home quarantine, keeping ourselves safe, keeping ourselves distanced from everybody. Again, because it's to limit the spread of the virus. Not touching it. It's been very difficult. Obviously, everybody has their own personal challenges and difficulties with the scenario. But again, you have to look at the big picture. Long term wise, and sometimes the short term isn't exactly what you want it to be. But you just have to keep digging and pushing on. And thankfully, we have the ability to kind of have a normal life because we work at home. For the most part, majority of our days are spent in the home office. So I just kind of look at it as just keep plugging away as a normal day. And it's not normal because the kids are upstairs making lots of noises and the wife is going crazy because
keep it down up there.
Exactly. So that's a little bit different, but you just try and I think a lot of it is just keeping schedules certainly help. Keeping yourself occupied is another. So,
well, it's been interesting to see a lot of the different organizations that are jumping on board to do some online racing on the iRacing platform. Whether you're like Rock Up USA with one of the karting sims. Everybody's trying to have that little bit of competition, kind of feed the love of motorsports that fuels all of us here in the sport, whether it's in karting or any of the other different disciplines of motorsports. People want to get out there. I've had a chance to actually commentate some iRaces. It's been interesting for sure. But let's talk about the coronavirus. Again, the update, ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, majority of the racetracks around the country shut down, dependent on the local or state orders. There's a number of tracks that are open, but with just a couple people on the racetrack. It's always nice to see some stuff on video of people out there slamming laps out. I think we'd all like to be doing it ourselves. But bottom line is that there are some tracks that are still open. Most are closed down, but the businesses are all still open. And I think that's one of the things, David, that is key that we'll get across at the start of this particular podcast, this Week in Karting podcast. The businesses are still open. They're still shipping product. They're still, they've got one or two people in the shop, or just one person in the shop in many cases to try to fill orders. But they've still got rent to pay. They've still got truck payments. They've still got mortgage payments. And again, we'll talk more about what we're doing. Actually, let's jump into that right now. Then we'll transition into what some of the other karting companies are doing. Here at E-Karting News, we're trying to do something to help our EKN partners, the people that keep our doors open, that keep our mortgages paid. And that's the industry that supports what we do. Not the entire industry supports us as the way our partners do. Marketing partners who are with us or advertising with us, whatever it may be. Our initiative, of course, is Support Karting, hashtag Support Karting, and that's for the entire sport. We're asking everybody essentially to, if you have the means, and we were set to go racing. So you have the budget in place, you were set to go racing. You know that you're going to have to buy consumables that you're going to need later in the season, whether it's tires, oil, maybe you were going to buy a new racing suit, gloves, a new rib protector, helmet, whatever it may be. If you have it in the budget, this is the time to make sure you buy it. Don't wait till we go back racing again. If you have it in the budget, it's sitting there in the bank, and you know you're going to be good. If you have the means, again, I want to say that this is a great opportunity, David, for them to support their local kart shop, the person who's at the track. Every time they're at the track and there's an issue and they need new gear because they didn't bring a 63 tooth, or the chain blew and they need a new chain, they run over there, and that shop, that trailer, is the person who saves the day and allows them to have what they need to keep racing. Well, the tables have turned now. It's not their turn to support you. It's your turn to support them. So, David, that's kind of the deal, right? We're trying to make sure let's keep injecting money. I don't care if it's $200 a person once a month. Keep injecting money into your local shop, any shop for that matter, to make sure they still have money coming through the till.
Well, $10 a week or $20 a week. I mean, it's not much. And again, a lot of these businesses have gift cards, or as you said, just little essentials. Whether it's a couple things of oil, or a couple chains here or there, or again, the bigger purchases are tires. Obviously, that's a big majority of revenue for a lot of shops. But just little things here and there. But I think one of the easiest things is the gift cards, because again, you don't have to use it right away. You're purchasing it, so it's giving them some revenue, and then later down the road, you're able to get that product or supply or something that you're going to need when racing resumes. But going back to what you were talking about earlier, the majority of the tracks are shut down to racing, but they're not shut down completely. Some are completely shut down, some aren't shut down. So people still have that option to get on track and to burn some laps, get some testing done, or in all honesty, just to get out there and forget everything. Because true, right? That's one of the things that karting does for me personally, is it kind of shuts everything else out of your brain, and just it's you and the racetrack. That become one that we've talked about before with movie and stuff like that. You become one with the racetrack, become one with the environment, and just being out there. And it's almost like a motorcycle ride. I anytime I'm outside in the neighborhood, I'm always hearing motorcycles driving around. Not today because it's down to, it actually snowed this morning, but I've been you're hearing a lot of motorcycles riding around in the neighborhood, because it's a sense of freedom. It's a way of getting away and forgetting everything that's going on. So karting is that. But yeah, the business side of things, we still need to keep. They're keeping their doors open online. You can purchase everything online for the majority of the kart shops that are open, or that are in business. So you can buy things there. You can do the gift cards. There's a lot of different ways that you can support the industry somehow, whether it's tracks or businesses.
Agreed. Totally agree. And again, one of our initiatives here, obviously, we talked about the hashtag Support Karting. It's great to see people putting that out on their social media. We appreciate that so much, and keep doing that. I don't care what you're putting out. Hashtag Support Karting. Keep putting that out there. We've, of course, come up with a t-shirt program. I think that'll be something that people can wear as well to show their support for karting. 100% of the net profits that we get from these t-shirts that we are selling are going to go right to our EKN partners. So we seriously appreciate that. Cool graphic on the front, all the EKN partners on the back. And again, our challenge is going to be this. We're likely going to go, I think it's Thursday, we go into production. So you'll start seeing photos from Styled Aesthetics of the shirts going on the screen printer, the press. And we'll start shipping those out. I think we've sold 25 or 30 shirts so far, just in the initial hit. We're pre-ordering now, so make sure you get to there, ekartingnews.com/store. But the challenge afterward is once you get the shirt at home, then it's a social media challenge. Wear that shirt, take a picture of the shirt, you, the family, whoever it is, put it up on social media. I don't care what platform, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Make sure you tag eKarting News and include the hashtag support karting, because that's how we'll search it, right? Have that hashtag support karting, and we're going to start giving some more stuff away. We're going to give away EK and hats, t-shirts, that kind of stuff. We've got some other older inventory we'll get out. We got some cool stuff. It'll be like a weekly draw. But the concept is, again, to get that support karting message out onto social media, because, of course, we can get it out to everybody we know, but you can get it out to your extended followers, your community, whatever it may be. And that's the key. We're just trying to support karting the best we can. David, listen, you've jumped into this. We're not racing outside. We're not being able to race on tracks right now. But you're one of these dudes that's like, and I've done some of them, but I've been pretty busy. You've been jumping into some iRacing. You guys, we had a couple of pretty cool races online on iRacing recently.
Well, and ironically, thankfully, I kind of started getting back into iRacing around Christmas time. I didn't go to Daytona, and I was staying up later than normal. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of watching TV, I should go do something with myself. So I got the wheel out of the storage room in the basement, and hooked it up to the computer and re-upped my subscription to iRacing. So I kind of got into it a little bit a couple of months before, obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic hit us. But it's really, obviously we're all at home, and it allows us to get that competitive spirit or competitiveness and racing addiction that we're all addicted to, and be able to take part in some races. And that's the great thing about iRacing is we're able, in the internet, we're able to connect with everybody. So whether it's, companies starting up their own iRacing league or series, or now we're getting tracks that are creating their own programs, or we're just getting random people that are creating leagues for everybody to jump in and all come together and race. So you're getting fields of, 20 to 30 people all from the karting arena, getting together and racing Spec Miata, Skip Barber, GT3 cars, F3s, all these different random car combinations and tracks that are available through the iRacing platform. And there's other, obviously, esports programs out there that people are doing as well. But iRacing really seems to be the more streamlined and more popular avenue that people are doing. And yeah, I've only done it during the nights on the weekdays, but the weekends are pretty much filled with iRacing.
Yeah, and you pretty much get wrecked all the time from what I'm seeing from your social media.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, the opening couple of rounds were bad. This past weekend wasn't too bad. A lot of it was driver error induced, so I screwed up myself. But it's just fun just to, and again, it's really like real racing, because again, it's all about not making mistakes, because you make a mistake, you screw up your qualifying lap. You make a mistake, you're going to screw up your position in the race, and that's a great thing about it. It's helping to. It's more of a mental game than anything. It's helping you stay focused and keep the mistakes to a minimum.
Agreed. I've had some fun on it as well. Obviously, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on. We've seen the IndyCar guys get out there and do some racing. A bunch of ex-karters that we've seen over the years. Oliver Askew won a big race last night. We did an event on the Elite Racing League on SimTV and on Speed51.com. He was a part of a battle at Texas Motor Speedway with the IndyCar drivers, and was going at it with Will Power and scored a big online win. Brian Robson was the spotter for that as well. All the guys from Aero McLaren Racing SP were helping him. The engineers were helping him. It's keeping them going as well. But yeah, you know what? I don't care if you're a karter running an MX5 Cup race, whether you're in one of the adrenaline fixed karting events that have been on as well on Apex Racing TV or whatever it is. I know that NKA is putting one together. The National Karting Alliance is putting together a program. Rock Cup's putting their sim racing deal together. Dude, honestly, it's just cool to and because when you play so much, a lot of guys, I wear my gloves when I'm doing it because my wheel starts to give me some calluses and blisters. But man,
you're one of those guys.
You have to do. It's just good to have. It's just good to have your hands on the wheel, right?
Yeah, no, that, and again, that's what I said. That's the part of, I think the coolest part about it is kind of the banter, watching some of these guys like Connor Daly and
Oh my God, the
Askew
Twitch
and
channel.
Wickens, and just watching the banter between guys. And again, you even get that in the karting league. Especially the one I'm in, the Red 6 race gear one on Saturdays. There's a lot, because a lot of these guys are all Cal Speed, Super Series or Ironman or Machismo racers. So they all are bumper to bumper smashing into each other once a month, every Saturday at Cal Speed. And so they're used to giving that, off the track banter, and it's very fun to kind of listen in and hear, because I've never raced with any of these guys, except I've been around Cameron Jocelyn and Casey Cook and Patrick Britton. So a couple of guys I know, but it's just kind of fun to listen into the banter that they have on each other. So that part is fun. And again, it gives you that camaraderie again, of just, being able to talk smack and to put people in their place and again, on track battles is it's fun. It definitely helps kill the time, because again, we're into our 5th week. It doesn't seem like it's been 5 weeks, but keeping busy with work and then doing the iRacing stuff on the weekends, makes the weekends really go by quick.
No doubt. All right, folks, stay with us. Our first commercial break here. We're going to come back. It's time to start kind of filling you in on races that have been canceled, that we know have been canceled. We'll talk a little bit about the events that we know have been rescheduled, kind of tell you where they've been rescheduled for. But still, folks, lots to come here. Briggs & Stratton, the sponsor of this particular edition of This Week in Karting. 25 years of experience, 25 years of success. Greg Bell and Leading Edge Motorsports are heading into their 3rd decade in the sport with winning momentum and the best material possible. Last year's monumental victories at the Rock the Rio and SCUSA Super Nationals have proven what the sport has long known. Greg Bell is one of the finest karting tuners, and he and his drivers can get the job done. Looking for a change in equipment? Get on board with Leading Edge Motorsports. Leading Edge is North America's factory team for Formula K and Praga karts, and the new 2020 models are in stock and ready for pickup or shipping to your garage. Do you want to win like Danny Formal did with Leading Edge in Las Vegas? Call Greg Bell today at 209-369-0921 to secure your place on the team. Leading Edge Motorsports will be trackside in 2020 at the Challenge of the Americas, SCUSA Pro Tour and California Pro Kart Challenge, Rock Sonoma, and the KPX Karting Championship in NorCal. From Rock to Miami to Briggs, rely on Greg Bell and Leading Edge Motorsports to give you everything you need to step into the winner's circle. Check out leadingedgemotorsports.com to learn more. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and safety gear to get you on the track. ShopAKRA.com offers a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure that all the latest equipment is available to you, the consumer. With customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Also, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials, clearance items, and new products. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network, episode 21 of This Week in Karting. It's April the 14th. Rob Howden and David Cole are going to roll through some of the cancellations, some of the rescheduled dates that we have with the COVID-19 coronavirus. David, let's get started with the event that you were at, Superkarts USA. Their Pro Tour Winter Nationals halted early in the run. Right now, it's interesting. I talked to Tom Kutcher and asked whether or not they thought about moving the Winter Nationals potentially to the end of the season. Of course, the Pro Tour wrapping up in August. I said, was there a possibility of trying to go early October? Normally they don't want to go any later than the end of September, which is when they have the Streets of Lancaster Grand Prix. And I asked whether or not potentially, maybe move into an October race, but they didn't want to get too close to the Super Nats, knowing that most people like a little bit of a break before they jump into that. So essentially what the plan is for the SCUSA Pro Tour deal is right now the Spring Nationals are going to be rescheduled, potentially the last weekend of May, which would be the 28th through the 31st, or the first week of June, in June 4 to 7. That would still be at the Utah Motorsports campus in out there in Tooele. To make sure they don't drop the Winter Nationals races, they'll have both races, the Spring Nats and the Summer Nats, will be 3-round events. There will actually be races on Friday. So essentially round number 1 at the Spring Nationals would be the replacement for round 1 of the Winter Nationals. And the Friday of the Summer Nationals, which is at Newcastle Motorsports Park on August the 5th to the 9th, will be round 2 of the series, the rescheduled round 2, right? It'll end up being round number 4. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's a pretty good move for SCUSA to do that. Obviously, people had paid to run at the Winter Nationals, so they're already paid up for that race on the Friday. Both those races on the Friday, they picked their tires up, so they have rubber. I'm not certain whether they're using those tires or they're going to have to buy new rubber at the track. But the bottom line is, SCUSA is still planning to get 6 races in for the Pro Tour.
Well, I think what the major thing it does is it eliminates the necessity to travel to what would be a 4th race, because technically we were all traveled and in NOLA for the Winter Nationals. So it helps alleviate that scenario, because adding another weekend to what will probably be a jam-packed schedule, I think SCUSA did right by just adding 1 round to each of the 2 weekends that they're going to have, that they already have scheduled, helps eliminate that aspect. When you look at kind of the big picture of what the sport of karting is going to be wrestling with once we do get back to racing. So again, yeah, it was a great move by that. And then obviously delaying the Spring Nationals was a good move as well, because we're, what now, 1, 2, 3
weeks,
essentially 3 weeks away from the originally scheduled date. And a lot of the states, I would say, over 40 of the states, maybe 50, still have the stay at home orders in place. So a lot of us, won't have the ability to travel. And again, it's a lot of it is what Utah has, the rules in place for Utah. What are the rules going to be when we get to, say, May 1st? That's going to be the kind of the next hurdle I think the SCUSA Pro Tour will have once we start looking at, because we'll be a month away and we have plenty of time to, as again, they provided the 2 different dates. So we're karters. We have the ability to kind of move around and be ready within, 3 to 4 weeks, easy. Sometimes, for regional and local events, you could be within a week's notice and be able to jump on a change. So
yeah, agreed.
I think we have plenty of time. Again, we'll know more once we get to May 1st and kind of understand where everybody is at in terms of what states are allowing, what states aren't allowing.
Yeah, one thing I've tried to get across to people is having that understanding that when we do go back to racing, the clubs, not so much even some of the more the regional series where people aren't doing it for a living or trying to make money. I think everybody has to realize and kind of take a little deep breath in terms of complaining about conflicts, because there are going to be conflicts. Organizations like Superkarts USA and Rock Cup USA and the actual businesses that actually, that's all they do for a living, they're going to have to get races in because they've got to make money, right? It's simple as that. Where a club can potentially back out a little bit and not run as many races, some of these major series are going to do whatever they can to make sure they get enough races in the books. And I'm certain that they're already thinking, hey, if we're not able to race in June, what's our next step? Do we reschedule into October? You could probably do that. You'd have to go a little further south probably than Utah if you had to reschedule for SCUSA. But again, everybody kind of just trying to figure out what they're going to be able to do once we go back to racing. It'll be bobbing, it'll be weaving. People will be evolving and kind of dealing with what they can. And again, I just want to put that out there that we just can't get too freaked out if there's going to be some conflicts, because we're going to try to pack a bunch of racing. Just pick your series, go racing, have fun, and be thankful that we're back at the racetrack. I think that's the only message I want to get out there.
Well, there's conflicts without the COVID. COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, there was always going to be conflicts no matter what, and there always is in karting because there's, again, we're a big country. There's a lot of races, a lot of people, and there's always going to be conflicts. I personally haven't seen anybody really complain about what is coming in terms of conflicts. So, me personally, I don't see any issues with people, events being moved around because it's kind of a necessity. Again, as you said, we want to try and get these events in. It's just like the IndyCar situation.
Yeah, but David, this is karting. I get Facebook will blow up the minute somebody puts one on top of it. There was already chatter when Andy Seisman moved his Challenge of the Americas finale onto an existing an existing California Rock Championship weekend. It was already there. People, again,
but it's the same promoter, so he can put it on top of himself.
But people were still bitching about a conflict with a KPX race. It's going to happen. People are going to be. I know that it's going to happen. I'm just trying to get a preemptive strike for people just to chill out, go run your race, and don't worry about it.
I've kind of in this quarantine situation, I've kind of put away the negativity because again, that's part of it. Yeah. Just ignore it. You know what?
Agreed.
Because
hey, trust me, I've muted a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
and unfollowed a lot of people on Facebook, whatever it may be, just because that's not the stuff I want to see in my timeline. It's just.
There's no reason to be negative at this point in this pandemic because you have to look at the positive things and
that's it.
Man,
David.
I don't understand. Again, like I just said, we've always had conflicts in the sport from day one. I don't understand. It's going to happen. It's going to happen even worse. And it's like, oh, it happened. Big deal. So I got to pick and choose. So pick one or go to the other. It's not hard.
It. All right. Speaking of Challenge of the Americas, they're obviously gearing up to get back on the track. Andy Seisman made the move for the season finale to the May 15th, 16th, 17th weekends I talked about at Sim Raceway in Sonoma. Again, that's just about a month away. California is actually doing a pretty good job over much of the other states in terms of getting things locked down, flattening the curve. Their stay-at-home order has really limited a lot of the cases and the deaths, of course, as well from COVID-19. So Andy Seisman's still hopeful, optimistic that they potentially could have that race, but he knows that get a couple more weeks into this and he may have to cancel. We had him on one of our IG Live interviews, our Q&As, and he was very upfront about what the plan would be. If indeed they're not able to run that season finale at Sim Raceway up in Sonoma, it has to be canceled. Then the series, of course, will get capped down to the 4 rounds that have already been run. And the championship points as they stand with no drops is how things will shake down in terms of drivers winning tickets to the Rock Cup International Final, the Super Final, rather. Rock Cup Super Final, they're calling it now, in October, rather, in Italy. Crossing our fingers that Italy's got things dialed in by then as well, so that won't be affected. But also, Andy kind of dropping the little bit of news on us, David, during that IG Live interview and giving us the schedule confirmed for 2021. It's pretty early.
Yeah, I just want to address kind of the
Please do.
Possible end to it. As you said, no drops. And again, this is another reason not to bitch because it's going to be the races that we've completed. And I think that's the greatest move that Andy can do if the finale is not to be run. Because again, you can't change the kind of the format that the series was going to follow. Yes, the series was going to be 5 out of 6. Well, we didn't get to 5 or 6. So you have to go with the 4 races that we've already run. So I agree with him on the no drop policy there. But yeah, looking forward to the 2021 schedule. Obviously, this is a time when he starts penciling in. We would have had the finale already, so he would have already moved into 2021 planning, and so he's already done that. Obviously, with the time to be at home and not be busy inside the shop there, he's been able to put together the schedule, which is essentially the traditional dates that he's typically followed with the Challenge of the Americas. January 22nd through the 24th, 2021. February 26th through the 28th, and then March 26th through the 28th. So essentially the final weekends of every month to start out the 2021 season.
Yeah, pretty. I like the fact that he got it out there early. Good timing to do so. Kind of locking in the same dates he had this year, which is good. But again, hopefully, let's cross our fingers in the potential to be able to get back on track May 15th to 17th. I don't think it's a very high possibility. I think Andy will tell you that. Crossing our fingers that potentially things will come down a little bit. They're doing a great job, as I said. I know Canada's doing a fantastic job. I look at the numbers every day, and we've over the last week, we've seen a downshot in new cases every day, which has been great. That's the kind of the area we're going now. In all of Canada, at 34 million people, we're really only getting another 1,000 new cases a day. So cross our fingers that we'll be able to get things handled here, and a number of the states will be able to get things kind of dialed in and locked down as well. But as David, you mentioned before, it's all going to be what the government decides to do in terms of gatherings and whatever it may be. All right, folks, when we get back after this quick break, we've got talk about the Quincy Grand Prix, Lockhart Grand Prix, Cup Karts North America, and the World Karting Association as well. It's obviously not positive. It's all cancellations, postponements, and rescheduling, but we'll give you the dates for those particular events when we get back after this break. Top-level production with a focus on a single form of motorsports, karting. This is MG Tires. MG Tires USA, underneath the Vantage Karting Group banner, is the official distributor of the MG Tires brand for the United States. MG Tires are the official spec tire in the United States Pro Kart Series, Route 66 Sprint Series, Sunshine State Karting Challenge, and countless clubs across the country. No matter your compound preference, MG Tires USA has you covered. The 2020 season brings a new homologation period, featuring new names for the same superior products. Whether it's the medium SH Red, the soft SM Yellow, the super soft green SS, or the intermediate white IZ, MG Tires USA has your winning set of rubber in stock. Indoor and outdoor rental facilities can now trust MG Tires with their solution for long-lasting and the best performance, with 3 different compounds available through the RL line. For more info about MG Tires USA and its extensive list of dealers near you, check out their website at mgtiresusa.com. MG Tires, for the drivers. Technology, design, and manufacturing. These components are what make Kart Republic a world champion. The Kart Republic chassis has earned 2 FIA World Karting Championships. Here in the US, the brand has earned multiple victories and championships in senior, junior, and cadet competition. Kart Sport North America is the country's importer and distributor for Dino Chiesa's Kart Republic chassis, and as a leader in American karting, they are focused on providing stability for the sport and quality products and service for the community. Whether you'd like to find the Kart Republic dealer closer to you or schedule an arrive and drive package with its official North American race team, contact Kart Sport North America through their official website, kartsportna.com. We are Republic. We are one. Hello, EK Nation. Welcome back to episode 21 of This Week in Karting. It's April the 14th. Rob and David here bringing you an update on everything that's going on. It's a little somber to a certain extent because normally in This Week in Karting, we don't spend all the time talking to you about cancellations or postponements or rescheduling. But amidst this COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, that really is the order of the day. Start with the 2020 Quincy Grand Prix. I was super excited because Terry Trader called me earlier this year and said, man, we'd really like to have you come out. Can we do the EK and Trackside Live? I want you to announce beside Randy Kugler, which would be obviously, for me, it would obviously be a treat. Randy, one of the legends of the sport. I was going to get a chance to race as well that mid-June weekend. Originally, it was David, was the 13th to the 14th of the Saturday, Sunday in June. He said, hey, Rob, what do you think? Should we move this thing to October? Again, he's 2 months away, right? We talked about Andy Saisman's COTA race being mid to the end of May. This is mid-June. And I kind of said to him, hey, man, I'm optimistic that, that maybe we'd be able to do that. It's still 2 months away. And I think he was more worried that, hey, you know what? Let's move it to the end of October so I can get it done. And I understand Terry's call. They've decided to move it to October 10th, 11th. It's a free weekend. It's the weekend after the Cup Karts North America race, the Grand Nationals at Newcastle Motorsports Park. So, late year, I think people are going to want to go racing, David. I don't think they're going to want to stop in October if the season's only going to be 4 or 5 months long. So, yeah, you know what? Let's go to Quincy in the middle of October and have some fun. We'll cross our fingers for some great weather and get back to that legendary race.
Yeah, I was kind of in line with you of let's just, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's kind of just wait it out a couple more weeks. I think he could have waited till maybe May 1st to kind of see where, obviously Illinois is going to be and see where they have the ability to continue with the June event or not. But he was ready to pull the trigger, and he did. And so now the one thing, for those who are going to take part in the 2020 Quincy Grand Prix is it'll be the first time ever it'll be held in October. So that'll be something unique, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the event and foliage. I mean, come on now, you're going through a park in October. You got some foliage working, the pictures are going to be probably amazing.
Agreed.
Because you're going to have all these carts going around with the green grass and then the trees that are going to be full of color. So it's going to be a unique aspect, a unique time for the Grand Prix.
Registration remains open. So, if you want to support this event, and that's the key. Again, all these races, these badass races are going to need your support. So registration remains open. You can get registered. If you can't run in October, full refunds are available. And for those of you maybe who were looking at the event, but maybe had a conflict with the June race, and Quincy's open now? Listen, if you're coming in from a long way away, whether it's California, Florida, and you don't want to trek all your stuff up, remember that Margay has all their Arrive and Drive programs for the Ignite classes. They've got the senior and Masters Ignite categories. So a really good opportunity to be able to come to Quincy. Their Arrive and Drive is a fantastic program. David, you've done it. I got a chance to do it at the Battle at the Brickyard. You roll in, they take care of you. Shared mechanics. So you don't need to do a ton of the Ignite anyways, but a great opportunity to come to Quincy if you've never done it and run in a huge field of Margay Ignite guys. I believe it's www.ignitekarting.com. Great opportunity to get signed up for one of their Arrive and Drives. David, speaking of street races, I was jacked to go to Quincy. I wasn't going to be able to make it to the return of the Lockhart Grand Prix in Texas. Mark and Gina French working their tails off to put on some cool races. They hooked back up with Lockhart, which had, I believe, 3 years of a cool street circuit race. They were putting that back together this year on the May the 16th, 17th weekend. I was going to have to be in Indianapolis for pole qualifying for the 500. We had said that you were going to go down to be there. Eric Brennan was likely going to go down and announce that race for us on the ECAN Trackside Live program. It's May the 16th and 17th. A little different than Andy Saisman, same weekend, right? So Andy's rolling into a track. These guys are putting on a major street race, fencing, barriers, staff, the whole deal. A little easier for Mark and Gina to say, you know what, we're not going to roll the dice on this. And there's just so much that goes on. We talked to Mark a bit on the IG Live. The city of Lockhart, it's a small city, small town, the barbecue capital of Texas. They got a lot of stuff going on throughout the year. So I think they're still looking and talking to the city about a potential date later on in the season. But again, tough for them. They may just have to refocus on bringing it back in 2021.
Yeah, postpone. That's exactly the key word to this event. Mark and Gina are definitely going to be working hard with the city of Lockhart to try and, because again, like he said during your IG Live talk with him, they have other events that they have week in and week out around the city that require the city streets and certain areas of the city in order to have these events. And there's plenty of events that are getting canceled right now along with theirs. So, or getting postponed. So it's, they got to find a time that works good for the city. They got to find a time that kind of works good for karters as well, because again, you don't want to schedule this, say, on Supernats weekend or something like that. December might be a good time to head down to Texas. Again, so it could
that's
be
it.
It could be
that's it.
It could be something that happens like you said, towards the end of the year, when racers, even especially up north, are kind of been out of the seat for 2 months and can head down. So there's definitely options that they can look at, but again, it has to go with whatever the city is giving them, because like we've seen with a lot of other street races and things that involve the city, you kind of have to go around what works for them. Look at the the IndyCar stuff. Obviously, Detroit Grand Prix, they're not going to be able to reschedule those because it's not possible. St. Pete, they have the ability now to possibly reschedule that for the series finale. They're just kind of waiting what weekend is going to work for that city. So
that's it.
So that's kind of the downside for a situation like this with street races. But again, it's postponed. It's not canceled. So you keep hope alive.
Well, you know what? I think you made a key point there right now. In this much more southern states, whether it's Arizona, California, Texas, into Florida, obviously SCUSA will want to start their winter series in January, as will the Florida Winter Tour with Rock Cup USA. But I would not be surprised to see a bunch of events get moved into December. Super Nats kind of wraps things up at the end of November. Everybody rolls into Thanksgiving. We got the PRI show in December, but I would not be surprised to see some events come into December. As I said, people are going to be dying to race because we're taking what we're off for a month already now. Let's say it's going to be another month. There's going to be these 2 months, maybe more. Let's cross our fingers it's not. These guys, people have the budget to race, and they're going to want to keep racing. So it would not surprise me to see some big events roll out. Not so much even in big events, just events rolling out in December where it's still decently warm. So anyway, Dave, postponement. We talked about that. That's the word used by Cup Karts North America as well for their Spring Nationals, the first race of the Cup Karts North America Champions Cup. They were scheduled to go April 17th to the 19th at Whiteland Raceway Park to start the program. Greg Jasperson letting us know that there's a possible rescheduling of the race for the future, of course, depending on when racing resumes.
Yeah, again, it's just one of those situations. They waited as long as they possibly could. Because everybody kept asking, "Hey, is Cup Karts, are they still racing?" And everybody was kind of questioning what was going on. And obviously, Greg and Steve were waiting till the last possible moment to postpone the event. And in their statement, they're still looking at getting a race at Whiteland. They're just not quite sure when that's going to be able to be fit into the schedule. Because again, we don't know when we're going back, so that kind of leads to when other events are going to be scheduled, and they don't want to. Again, they're looking at trying not to schedule on top of any other events as well too. So, a lot of moving puzzles and pieces are going to be put in place once we know when we can get back to racing. And again, some areas might get back to racing before others. So it's just a wait and see scenario with a lot of these events.
The World Karting Association really going to work as well. Kevin Williams and everyone over there, they've been digging to kind of reschedule some things, get things dialed in for June and July. David, they've kind of moved things all the way to the end of June, the 26th, 27th, 28th, round 2 of the WK Manufacturers Cup Series. Of course, the first event at WK Kart Week in Daytona in December. They were scheduled to go at April 17th to the 19th, which is this coming weekend. They moved that to June the 26th to the 28th. Then a bunch of races through July as well. But WK, I think, doing a pretty good job kind of moving things into June and July.
Yeah, that's the necessity that was needed. They had the event that was, again, going to be this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So everybody was looking forward to getting back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So that event now has kind of been split up because, again, this was going to be the trifecta. With dirt and road race and sprint and in the Manufacturer Cup Series. Dirt and road race, those two events are going to be the July 3 through 5 weekend. That is going to be run in conjunction with what is now going to be the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals, which was moved from the Pittsburgh International Race Complex to Charlotte Motor Speedway. The Manufacturer Cup Series event that was scheduled for April is now going to be June 26th through the 28th. So those kind of have split up a little bit, and then again, they are still continuing with the July 24th through 26th weekend for the third stop of the WK Manufacturers Cup Series, and then the weekend after that will be the Rock Cup USA Rockfest East event. So a lot of racing going on at the Charlotte Motor Speedway in June and July.
I was going to say, I don't want to hear from anybody that I didn't have an opportunity to race on the newly paved kart track at Charlotte because lots of opportunities to do so. WK Man Cup on June 20 to 28, as you said. The July 2 to 5 weekend for the U.S. Rotax Grand Nationals. We talked to Justin Stefani from J3 Competition about that on the IG Live program. And then, of course, Manufacturers Cup back in July, and then the Rock Cup, Rock Fest East as well. So lots of opportunities for different engine platforms to get a chance to get on that track. That what I think is a legendary racetrack, really part of the fabric and foundation of American karting through the the 90s or late 80s, 90s. We had some great races at Charlotte. And to see that track repaved and back going again, opening the door then for another one of a kind of a North American Karting Championship style race that we had in the late 90s with both with the dirt road race and sprint all happening at the same time. That whole thing to me sets up. It could have happened this year, but it sets up for 21 and 22, 23 and beyond to have some really cool races right down there in Charlotte.
It is. It's that's what kind of part of history that a lot of people don't realize is Charlotte Motor Speedway was kind of a nucleus for karting back in the 90s and 2000s. I mean, we even went there with Stars of Karting. Manufacturers Cup Series was there every year. Gold Cup used to race there all the time. It was kind of like, it is the headquarters for WKA, but, racing actually took place there all the time. And I think, with the rejuvenation of the 3 series programs running together at the same facility last year kind of helped, pump up the ability to have the sprint track inside the Charlotte Motor Speedway repaved. So it's going to provide, I think, at least another decade of races that are going to be able to be held inside that facility.
Yeah, David, I think I'll send a message out to the karting mailing list and see if the Fries and Frankie Schaffier and the Tackets can come down for a fish fry.
Well, don't forget the moonshine. You got to have moonshine, right?
Frankie bought the moonshine. That was amazing. And dude, that was literally probably 23 years ago.
Yeah, it was before my time. That's for sure.
Yeah, 23 years ago. That's back when the only way you could connect with,
right?
That's right. Yeah, and there was an email mailing list. Pete Muller started the email mailing list. So essentially, it was you CC'd everybody, and it was a mailing list, and that's essentially how we communicated. There wasn't any forums or websites at that point. People were having websites, but yeah, we all communicated through this email thread that went back and forth, and we all ended up connecting down at the North American Karting Championships. The Fries brought fish. They went fishing and brought a fish fry. I think I brought down a couple of cases of Molson Canadian, and Frankie Schaffier somehow sourced some moonshine. It was
somehow.
it was a fantastic evening. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I don't remember the Briggs & Stratton 300 that much, to be honest.
you know what? That was when I actually graduated high school, and I was my first year of college because I got my first college email address, and I was like, what am I going to do with this? And that's when I joined the mailing list because somehow I found out about it. I don't know if it was through a magazine or I can't remember how I got connected.
I think I put it in National Kart News. I put it in National Kart News. I know I wrote about it in National Kart News.
And it could have been the Tackets too, because obviously we were racing together back then as well. So they could have connected me to that. And that's my dive into the internet with karting for sure.
I remember when I first started working for National Kart News in Kurt Paluzzi, I asked him how many races I could go to cover, because I wanted to go to races. I wanted to go cover races trackside. And he's like, "Well, we only have so much of a budget." And I go, "What's the budget? Tell me what the budget is. Like, is it 10 grand? Just tell me how much money I can spend on the year to go to races. I'll go to every race." So I think it was less than $10,000 was my budget, and I ended up for that particular race. There was 6 of us in my buddy Stefan Haas's conversion van. We slept all the way down, 12-hour drive. You know what I mean? It was, and I slept in a tent a couple of races, and slept on floors, guys' couches, and hotel rooms. I did whatever I could to be at races to cover them without trying to spend too much of Kurt's money at National Kart News. So
I'm sure the budget was less than what you think it was.
It was probably much less. Yeah, true enough. And then of course I launched my own magazine, and budget was even less probably at that point. All right, guys, another quick break, and we're going to come back. Actually, we're not going to talk about any cancellations, one postponement, but we're going to talk more about some cool stuff. So stay with us, folks. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history in motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level and track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of the race day. To learn more about the 206 engine and to find a North American dealer near you, head to briggsracing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and safety gear to get you on the track. ShopAKRA.com offers a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure that all the latest equipment is available to you, the consumer. With customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Also, follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials, clearance items, and new products. Welcome back to the ECAN Radio Network. Rob Howden alongside David Cole. We talked a lot about event cancellations, rescheduling, postponements. Let's talk about some other stuff, David. We've got some good news about a new track getting built, but let's talk about Briggs & Stratton first. Launching a mascot naming contest. I think good timing for this.
Yeah, it was, I think it kind of came at the right time because a lot of people are stuck at home with this COVID-19 situation. And we were able to work with or talk with Briggs & Stratton about things that were going to be coming down the line. And, we got talking about the weekly racing series, and then they gave us a little hint about a contest they were going to have. I was like, this is great. And so, obviously, when you look at the Briggs & Stratton website and different media kits or graphics and stuff like that, there's this little mascot that is associated with the animal and the 206 engine platforms, and so there is no name for this little mascot guy that they have, and so they decided to create a naming contest to name the mascot, and so anybody's available to submit a possible name for the mascot through the briggsracing.com website. The contest is running through this month. But first place will be provided a new Briggs & Stratton 206 engine, and Comet Kart Sales provided gift cards for second and third place, $206 to each of those positions.
I love it. I'm looking forward to find out what they end up going with, seeing some of the different submissions for the naming contest of the mascot. I love that. Now, David, you also broke a story with was pretty cool. We kind of picked it up, I think, on Facebook. You kind of were the guy that ran with it. A brand new racetrack, kart track being built in Colorado. Always great news when we're talking about new tracks being built.
Yeah, one of the premier facilities there was shut down. That was at the Centennial Airport there. Obviously, the track at Centennial was my first Rotax Grand Nationals that I went to. So kind of had a place in my memory, but that facility shut down. So Denver, it has a number of different little facilities that are around the area, but it's kind of lacking that premier facility. And I think this might be the next new one with the Royal Gorge Karting Circuit. It's located in Canyon City, Colorado, roughly 100 miles south from Denver metropolitan area. It's going to be kind of based off of what the Karting Genk facility in Belgium looks like. Excuse me. It has a 0.33 mile rental kart track along with the 0.85 mile competition track. And the one big difference that this facility has compared to the one in Belgium is elevation. We were talking over 40-foot elevation on the competition track. So again, you're in Denver or you're in Colorado, lots of mountains, great views where the plot of land is. and they're going to be able to take a lot of the different landscape elevation changes that is already there and implement that into the actual layout of the racetrack. So the facility broke ground on March 23rd, and they are still set to open this summer. Obviously with the COVID-19, they don't have any issues right now with construction, because construction seems to be one of the essential working forces out there. So they're getting a lot of stuff done quickly. Because a lot of people are looking for work or looking to do work. So they hope to have everything ready to go when everything gets back to normal.
Yeah, it's just so huge for Colorado karting. And it's, over the 20 years I've done this, there was a time where Colorado karting was really one of the, I would say one of the models of karting in the sport. The Colorado Sprint Challenge, Sprint Championship rather, was huge. All the tracks worked together. Each track had a big race. Kind of eroded after a time, which was a shame because it was such a great program. And as I said, I used it as the model. We pointed to it all the time in the magazine and everything on eKarting News. Love to see Colorado get back to that again, because there's a lot of passionate racers in the Colorado area, and to have a brand new track like this added to the lineup is absolutely huge. Now, David, we got some information coming out of SuperKarts USA regarding the IAME X30 platform updates. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so there were going to be updates to the IAME X30 engine platform, and those were going to roll out at the start of the 2021 season. It's that 7-year period that we kind of talked about in our last This Week in Karting. Everything was going to roll out for the 2021 season with a pandemic that not only us but around the world are experiencing, especially in Italy, where IAME is based. They've decided to delay the rollout of the updates for the X30 engine platform. That will now be implemented for the 2022 season. Once everything gets kind of back to normal, they will be able to have IAME USA West and IAME USA East will be able to have the upgrade kits available later in the year, so people can start getting ready for the 2022 season as quickly as possible. Obviously the 2021 season will be kind of a reset year for everybody. I think FIA has done the same thing with homologations. So we'll see. We'll obviously see a lot of things kind of pushed off to the 2022 season in terms of technology changes that will be implemented.
Good call there for SuperKarts USA, I think. And you said it, Dave. It'll be a reset season. We'll be getting back at it fully in 2021. Hopefully, we'll be at it sooner or later here in 2020. One final break, folks, in this edition of This Week in Karting. When we come back, we'll kind of give you a look at the editorial that's come out on eKarting News. We'll talk about the podcasts that are now available as well. We'll tell you what we got coming on the EKN Radio Network and some of the stuff that David and I are working to continue to push out more content here on eKartingNews.com, our social media channels, and the EKN Radio Network. Stay with us, folks. We'll wrap things up after this break.
You want the best? You just got to roll with the best. Streeter Superstands. This is Jeff Wessel from StreeterSuperstands.com. You wouldn't put subpar parts on your racing cart, so why put that cherished ride of yours on anything but karting's #1 lifts and stands, Streeter Superstands. Streeter is the original and genuine manufacturer of the second-to-none Bigfoot rolling stands, stackers, uprights, and industry-leading Superlift. We also manufacture and sell the largest and always growing roster of trailer and shop accessories like tire, engine and jug racks, cabinets, spray can trays, bead breakers, and tons more to outfit any size trailer, team, and budget. Streeter Superstands has over 30 continuous years of experience. We're kart racers just like you and know that the Streeter name represents the absolute best in stands, lifts, and accessories for karting enthusiasts worldwide. Durability, affordability, unmatched quality, and customer service, that's what sets us apart from the rest. Check us out now at StreeterSuperstands.com. Roll with the best, StreeterSuperstands.com.
Wins in the sport's biggest races and championships in national and regional series all over the country, they're all on Nitro Kart's resume. The Nitro Kart has made its statement as the best, fastest, and winningest cadet chassis on the American market. The 2020 Nitro Cadet is even better. The kart features magnesium front and rear hubs, a floating sprocket hub, and a roller bearing steering column support with toe lock. The Nitro Kart Cadet is completed with Mini Dynamica bodywork and Max Pappas's MPI steering wheel. If you want to win in Cadet, get a Nitro Kart and join our team.
I am Nitro Kart Mini driver and national champion Spencer Conrad. We just got our 2020 Cadet chassis just before Daytona this year, and I really like it a lot. I got my first victory with it in just the second time on track. I really like the MPI wheel and the new brake system. Plus, the bodywork is really cool. Come join the winningest cadet team on the market. Team Nitro. Race one or chase one.
Nitro Kart! Race one or chase one!
Welcome back to episode number 21 of This Week in Karting. It's been about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks since we've had one of our shows. A little busy over that last little 3-week time period, and we're kind of settling back in here now. David, let's talk about, let you kind of roll out some of the original editorial that you did on ekartingnews.com. First and foremost, this show's all about what kind of came in, the news that came in and made it to the homepage. We put out a lot of original editorial as well.
Let's start with ECAN Driver of the Month. Obviously, for February 2020, we haven't had races in March, so we'll more than likely will not have one. I mean, we could possibly talk about the Friday practices at the Winter Nationals, but I don't think we'll go into that.
Well, I guess there's the finale of the Florida Winter Tour too. We can pick a driver from there, I guess.
That's true. I forgot that did get completed before everything.
We'll discuss that later.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. That gives me something to talk about and write about. Awesome.
There you go.
So we had the February.
Shout out to Oliver Calvo.
Yeah. So Oliver Calvo winning 3 of 4 races at the Cal Speed event for Challenge in the Americas. It's his second time he won 3 races in a weekend. Did so at the opening rounds at Tucson. And so he was named Driver of the Month for February with Leading Edge Motorsports and the Praga chassis. We did in February, at the end of February, I visited Precision Karting Technologies. They hosted an open house. Luckily, it was only 2 hours from my house here in Grand Rapids. So I was able to travel over towards the Motor City, Detroit area and visit them in their Wixom, Michigan headquarters. Got to see a number of racers, a couple industry people, not only with PKT, but Marshall Martin and those from Target Distributing and some others as well, too. A lot of local racers, road racers, a lot of different people from the Detroit area visiting there. We did an industry insider with Crosslink competition. Got to understand who and what drives Crosslink competition. Got to kind of focus a little bit on Sean Owens. A lot of us know Sean, dating back to the early days of Dallas Karting Complex and the race team with DKC there. Sean has obviously moved over to Crosslink competition for the last, I believe, 2 years now, into his 3rd season, and really stepping up that driver development program they have there between karting and the F3 and F4 programs that they have in car racing as well. One of the cool things was we kind of reviewed the 2019 Briggs & Stratton Weekly Racing Series presented by RLV. Kind of reviewed the drivers who finished the 3 different divisions: junior, senior, and or junior, senior USA, and senior Canada. The 3 different divisions they have with that. So kind of got to highlight those drivers who finished off this 2019 season on top of the Weekly Racing Series program. And again, $45,000 worth of prizes and product being shipped out to those who finished towards the top. I believe down to like the top 100, I think, drivers overall. So lots of prizes. And again, just another way to bring that Briggs & Stratton community together. And again, numbers continue to rise in 2019 with the Weekly Racing Series program. Just I want to say probably 4,000 to 5,000 different drivers involved in that program.
Amazing, right? Amazing. You also, you did a little bit of editorial yourself, wrote a couple of behind the laptop articles.
Yeah, I figured we got with the time, might as well start writing again. And one of the, obviously I jumped on the iRacing thing really quick and did a a few columns about that. How people can get into it. People that have been involved in it kind of looked at different racers who why they do it, how they got into it, what it takes to be part of the esports movement that is going on now during our COVID-19 quarantine. So kind of got talked a little bit about that. And then my one I did yesterday was the F1 format to Supernats 24. Kind of I was watching the Formula One show on Netflix, and it got me thinking, like, why do we not have this in karting? Like, this is something that we could do. We have lots of manufacturers. We kind of need to kind of narrow it a little bit. It's almost kind of like that. What's the soccer program in England? A Premier Series. Where they have a focused. This is your Premier level, and I think we can. Now that we have KZ and the IME SSE engine running together, we can kind of do that a little bit, where we kind of put an emphasis on the teams and the manufacturers rather so much than the drivers, and just kind of do a little F1 format with 10 teams, 20 drivers. Boom, let's do it. Let's race a condensed program at the Supernats.
Definitely had a lot of people talking, which I thought was interesting. A lot of feedback. I know you were busy yesterday replying to people as opposed to doing anything else. Which, trust me, I've dealt with that before. When you put out some piece of editorial that people kind of identify with, or it fuels them, whatever it may be, you end up spending a lot of time replying to people, whether it's on actually on comments on Facebook or private messages or emails, whatever it may be. I like the fact that it got people talking, and I thought it was an interesting concept for sure.
I think the best part was people were wondering if this is actually happening. Like, people were messaging certain team owners like, "Hey, is this happening? Is this for real? Like,
You're like,
am I able to race? Who do I need to contact in order to race Supernats now?" And I was like, no. This is just a concept. Like, and that's the one thing I haven't heard anybody from SCUSA talk to me about it. So, maybe this is all for nothing, but maybe we'll have to knock on the door and kind of wake them up over there in Temecula.
I love it. Folks, we also got a bunch of stuff out on podcast form. Those of you may be listening through iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, or Spotify. The last issue, of course, This Week in Karting, now available as well. If you didn't get a chance to listen to my industry insider interviews with Curtis Cooksey from Acceleration Kart Racing or Keith Freber from Margay, they're available in podcast form now. Really good interviews. Finally did my second edition of the Book It podcast, a conversation with Rob Howden. Had a really great chat with Greg Bell, talking about his early days in the sport, how he got into racing, and you could hear the passion in his voice. And it's a really great interview. It's long. It might be 90 minutes long in total, but trust me, if you're driving somewhere, if you're just bored as hell at home, it was a fantastic podcast, a Book It podcast with Greg Bell, exactly how I wanted it to roll out. Talked about this and the history, talked about his recent success, talked about drivers he's worked with. Man, it was exactly what I hoped it would be. And it's fueled me to do more of them again. I'm gonna line up another one for next week and try to maybe do one every other week. So I got a couple of people that I really want to talk to. Gary Carlton being one of them. Sabre Cook, another person I'd like to sit down and talk to about her time in the sport and what she's been able to do in engineering, mechanical engineering, race engineering. So I'm really excited to talk to her as well. Look for more of that coming up on the EKN Radio Network. David, excuse me, you've been dropping some rewinds. You've been dropping some old EKN Trackside Live broadcasts, and you went back to one of the ones that we actually didn't even stream live. We actually recorded it at the Supernats at Sam Boyd Stadium and then uploaded it later. Man, it was wild to hear me. But I'm just saying, it was wild. Yeah, it was 3 different races, but it was so wild to hear. That's 10 years ago, and listen to those races. It was crazy.
It was more than 10 years ago, Rob.
What was the one?
It was 6? 9, 10, and 11. It was 2005, 2006, 2007.
15 years ago.
So 15 years ago, because again, you were doing a handheld recorder.
That's right, and I didn't have a headset on, so I'm screaming over top of the cars. Like nowadays, when we do the broadcast, I have a headset on, so I'm not screaming as much into the mic. Man, you
were younger, so you could scream back then. Now
that's true. Yeah, I'd lose my voice. And I remember the one And the one year we were standing outside turn one on the hay bales outside our little RV that they gave us to work.
Yeah, that would have been 06 and 07.
Oh, man.
Because 2005 was the Mandarino year, and we were actually at start finish line next to scoring we had an RV that year.
And we were, I think I announced them on top of the RV, I think.
On top of the RV. So it was a really cool place to be at because, and again, I think you even interviewed Mandarino right after the event. So you basically climbed down off the RV and went right to scales, which was right behind us. So
yeah, and what with that, yeah, exactly.
We've always had, in previous years, we've always had a good position to be able to do that kind of thing. Now, not so much because the scales are literally half a mile away from where we are, so we can't do that. Luckily, now we have the podiums right after every main event, so we're able to get that raw emotion. Because I think that's one thing. When you listen to that 2005, in those early years, you get that raw emotion.
Agreed.
Of that celebration right after you come off the racetrack. And so I'm thankful we're able to do that because those Supernats that we didn't have that. And, now mind you, I love the celebration that was inside the Rio there, the big stage. I think it was a great show, but we were lacking that emotion. I mean, there was some emotion there, but that at least for our live broadcast that we're doing now.
Agreed. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. Yeah, for sure. And people, in the one we did inside of the Supernats, people would come in, they'd try to make flights, so they would grab their trophy and be done and bail out. So by the time you get to the end of that, the room's a little more sparse in terms of people being in there. But yeah, back in those early days of the Supernats, it was just the raw emotion of the Gary Carlton win and the Jason Bowles and Lorenzo Mandarino, as we said. There was just such raw emotion from all those guys that would win races and straight to the podium and people screaming and yelling. And it was awesome. It was good times for sure. Yeah. So I think the cool thing is you're asking people, hey, what do you want to hear next? Is there a race that we did back in the day that you'd like to hear the broadcast from, right?
Yeah, we're gonna put something up on social media to kind of get people to start talking about what they would like to hear. Basically anything 2012 and up till now, any kind of trackside events we went to, we can broadcast on, we can play, replay, and rewind on the EKN radio network.
We're expecting to line up a couple more podcasts. We've got we're gonna get a bunch of the karting photographers together to do one of our podcasts here. That should be a lot of fun, hashing it out with the shooters in the sport. A couple of industry roundtables coming up as well on the EKN Radio Network. But on the website itself, David, you got another column you're working on. I'm working on another column. Got a couple of driver profiles potentially as well. I've got our Women in Karting program. Our series called Girl Power. That's going to be coming up here soon. We'll roll that out. Social media wise, as you folks have seen, I'm essentially trying to lock down someone every day at 2:00 in the afternoon on IG Live. Our next program, though, David, going to try to maybe set up a Facebook Live program as well. Multi guests. You're going to see us testing that with just you and I later on this week.
Yeah, I don't think anybody wants to see me, but I'm all in.
You shaved off that beard, dude. The beard, the half Fu Manchu thing. I really enjoyed that. That looked pretty good.
It was the comments that said that I looked like my dad that got me to never grow again. Now, mind you, I went 10 days without shaving again, but I shaved for Easter because it was a holiday, so I figured I'll do it. So, but I am going to keep up to my weekly shaving routine and no more Fu Manchu. Maybe for a future Halloween costume, we'll see. I'll keep you posted.
Not even an option for me. Facial hair, not an option for the Rob. Not going to work. David, thanks, bud. I appreciate it. We got another one in the books here, folks. Again, a Book It podcast. Looking for them coming up soon. Ryan Norberg's on the hot seat for that as well. I've talked about getting Ryan in, Saber Cook, Gary Carlton. Lots of people that we can bring onto the Book It podcast. And you're going to keep seeing stuff. 2:00 every day. Trying to use it 2:00 every day on IG Live. Lining more people up to talk about the sport. And again, send us a message. If there's somebody you want to see on IG Live, let me know. Drop us a DM on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it may be. You give us the input. I'll go find the person. We'll lock them down for an IG Live Q&A. Otherwise, we're done. Big thank you to Briggs & Stratton Motorsports Brig Racing for being our presenting sponsor of this edition of This Week in Karting. We're wrapped up, folks. Thanks for listening in. Hope you guys are taking care, staying at home. And last but not least, once again, #support karting. Go to ekartingnews.com/store, get your EKN support karting t-shirt, and we'll support the people that support EKN. Much appreciated, folks. Stay safe, stay home. Talk to you soon. On behalf of David Cole, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.